On. The microphone's on, Tom. The microphone should be on now. Hello. Hello, everybody. Sorry, I had my mask on. How is everyone today? Oh, dear me. Russian again, Louise. Can everybody hear? And more importantly, you should be able to hear now. And more importantly, can you hear Louise?
Can you hear me?
It's the background slightly wonky, isn't it? It's not you, is it? The background is wonky. Or is the camera wonky, Louise? Is the camera wonky?
I'm not sure. Perhaps I'm wonky.
Oh no, hang on, the tripod's wonky. Hang on.
Am I wonky?
There, how's that? Nope, that's just your head. There you are.
I'm still wonky.
No, you're wonky because you look at the wrong screen. Yeah?
No, I'm still a bit wonky.
Still wonky? Honky, tonky, wonky, honky. Hang on.
It's the background that's wonky, it's this.
The background is wonky, yes. There we go, there we go. We're better. Is that all right now? Do we have Evie on? Yes, you're on. Oh, goodness me. Talking heads.
There we are.
We're in. Thomas, Paul, got some books from Hay on Wye.
Paul, you've been to Hay on Wye?
I thought, Paul, you've been there a long time because about 2 weeks ago I thought Paul was there.
Oh yeah, we had this conversation, didn't we, about Hay on Wye?
About 2 weeks ago. But you've been a long time looking at those books, Paul. What?
Where were we? We were in the cinema bookshop, which is basically a converted... It used to be a cinema, didn't it?
Yes.
And it's a massive, massive bookshop now. But there weren't that many on jewellery making, were there?
No,
in that
not.
specific...
No, because I've had them all. Paul, anyone got a black screen? Andrew's mic is scratching against his clothes.
Oh, it's because you've got your apron still on.
How's
We're
that?
a bit disorganised today. We've had
Thomas Sabo rep, haven't we?
Yeah, we're stocking Thomas Sabo. That's my latest thing that I've decided to do. So yeah, we've had the rep with us today, who's very kindly made our cupboards all gorgeous, full of lovely Thomas Sabo.
Where's Andrew's mic?
Is it me?
There's a lot. No, it was mine.
Is it?
It was my mic, wasn't it? So my mic should be fine.
Scratchy stopped.
No, I think it was me because I was leaning over there and my mic was being scratched against my apron and things like that. So I think now everything should be fine, but we'll give it a few minutes, shall we?
Yeah.
Yes. So I want to let everyone know, thank you for all the orders for the white nylon brushes and the titanium strips. And I'm pleased to say that all those who have ordered the end of last week, you'll be getting some stickers. Now, Louise hates stickers. You're shaking your head disapprovingly.
I'm a 42-year-old woman. I don't want a sticker.
What can you say? So we have got these little stickers. Yeah, great little stickers that you can put anywhere you want. Well, basically.
Well, don't tempt me.
The glue is not permanent. The glue is it's removable, which is the good thing. I hate stickers when you stick it on like something and you've got to peel it off and all the glue gets just not happy. So these are nice little vinyl stickers that we're giving out with all the...
Fiona liked the Haribo. Yeah, I think Haribo is much more useful.
Yes, sorry, we don't have any Haribos left. Why not,
Many
Louise?
Proseccos. I ate them all.
Because you ate them all. You ate all the Haribos, so I'm afraid there's no Haribos left, although I have actually ordered a box that should be with us this week. See, love stickers. Sandy loves stickers. You can stick them places. And the idea is obviously just stick, if you've received a sticker, if you're in the US, your parcels are going out all this week. If you're abroad, they're all going out this week. If you get a sticker, take a picture of where you stick your sticker and we'll give a prize to the person who sticks their sticker in the most unlikeliest of places.
But keep it clean and keep it legal. Because it is, we were trying to figure out the name. It's not fly tipping, it's something, isn't it, where you put...
Sticker, Jason said it.
Not fly tipping.
Sticker bombing. Sticker bombing?
No, there's a word. It's where you put posters up and you're not supposed to. Fly tipping is where you put your rubbish places, isn't it? What's it called?
Yeah, I'm not quite sure now. Not quite sure. You want a sticker? You want a sticker? Everyone wants a sticker. Everyone loves a sticker, Louise. Everyone loves a sticker. We've got stickers.
Saying you've got a sticker with your jam. I was fly posting. Fly posting. That's it. Thank you, Paul. I was happy with my sticker I got from the nurse. Yeah, fly posting, yeah. That's it. Vandalism, exactly, it's classed as vandalism. So please don't use the Andrew Berry stickers for vandalism, please.
I wouldn't want that to happen. So yeah, so we got stickers, and we're also getting a few more as well. We got a few little more that are going to be in the pipeline. The bigger the balls, the flatter your bottom. I've got the graphic for that now, so that's what we're working on as well. All systems go. And if you're watching this, you may remember a little while ago, our good friend Mark Goodwin sadly passed away. And we basically cleared out his workshop, didn't we, the other day? So we've got some of Mark's tools that we're going to be selling. Is that right to say that? Yeah, is that right? Yeah, that's okay. So in the forum, in the At the Bench forum, so this is the advantage about being an At the Bench member, is that I'm going to be posting up some tools for sale. Now, you know, I keep going on. You know, I keep going on about Andrew's first rolling mill that he bought 35 years ago. Well, I'm selling it. I can't keep it. Much to.
Are you sure you want to sell it?
I'm gonna have to.
You don't have to sell it.
I got 6 rolling mills, Louise. What am I going to do with 6?
There's no need to brag, Andrew.
6
Come
rolling.
on.
You're a bit low there, Louise. Let me just put you down a bit. You're a bit on the. All I can see is your. There. That's better. I don't need 6 rolling mills.
Admittedly, you don't. You could open a rolling mill shop.
I could open. I could open a rolling mill shop. There we go. That's better, Louise. There we go. That's better. That's better. So I am selling my rolling mill, my first rolling mill. It's still good. It's still brilliant. There's 3 extension rollers to go with it. I'm selling that. That's on the forum. I'm also selling my upright wedding ring stretcher. Basically my first one of those. That's on there as well. And also on there is the Balco 1 litre plating bath as well. So it is all. Why does YouTube decide to not put "I need a rolling mill" and it doesn't like it?
But there we go.
So
also,
yes.
Tools should be passed on, not sold. Give a tool with the sale if you have to sell.
I'll include a free sticker.
A free rolling mill with every sticker. How's that?
A free mill. So I'm selling some of my equipment because I'm replacing it with some of Mark's, and then we're also selling some of Mark's as well. That we didn't have it, we bought it, and we've cleared it out, and so yeah. So on the forum, I'm going to start putting some tools. If there's been no interest after a week or so, then I'm going to put it up on eBay, and then people can bid for it. But they are basically some of my tools that I'm selling.
Thomas is saying, does the mill have your signature? I think that can be arranged.
I can put whatever you want on it. I can put my signature on it. You can put a sticker on it. You can have whatever you want on it. Absolutely, I'll do that.
Saying I would like to have 1 rolling mill. Yeah, he's showing off you two, isn't he, to be fair?
Who?
You.
Me. Well, you said keep it. I can't keep another rolling mill. Can I? I can't keep another rolling mill. So there's lots and lots of stuff that's going to be going on the forum. First of all, if you're a member of At the Bench and you're a paid member of At the Bench, you will have first dibs on the equipment, and then what doesn't sell will go onto eBay then for everybody else.
Jules said it passed on, the skill in them passes to the new person. Well, that didn't happen when I bought my saxophone, did it? I didn't acquire the skills of them.
Would be nice, wouldn't it?
It would have been nice, yeah.
Would have been nice. Would be nice if it could be nice if tools can absorb and then give back.
Well, because that means that you just buy a skill, which you can't do. Or
then you
acquire
can do when you buy it. When you buy the item.
You have to learn, though, don't you?
Yeah,
that's the whole point. Yeah.
I suppose so. So there we go. That's the news at the moment. There's going to be all sorts of things. There's going to be a shank bender. There's going to be disc cutters, doming sets. There's lots and lots of tools. So as I said, if you're a member of At the Bench, it's worthwhile being a member of At the Bench because not only can you win tools at the end of every month. It's not the end of the month yet.
It's coming close though, isn't it?
It is coming close, and you can get a chance to buy these tools at a greatly discounted price.
Very competitive price.
Very competitive price. I think I'm selling the rolling mill, my first rolling mill, It's still brilliant, absolutely fantastic. With 4 extension rollers in total. I've bought 3 of them. They cost me £200 each. Matthew charged me £200 to make each extension roll. That's £600 in theory. So I'm only charging £100 for the mill. In that case, £700 for the mill and 3 extension rollers. Bargain.
Happy days.
Happy days.
For someone.
If someone wants my first rolling mill, yeah, by all means. There we go, that's what I'm going to say. Everybody else okay? Solstice Day. Yes, it is June the 21st. It's Louise and mine's 2nd anniversary of when I asked Louise to marry me.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very cute, isn't it?
I know, I remembered this morning.
Did you?
Yeah.
And someone already has dibs on the mill. Are they? I'm going to have to check the forum.
Ooh.
Check the forum, Louise, see who's on there. Yes, but Paul, there's 3 extensions as well that cost me 200 quid each. Make me an offer. Paul, if you want to make me an offer, I'm open for reasonable, not silly offers. Make me an offer. Make me an offer for the mill, but you've got to come and collect it because I certainly ain't posting it. There we go. And you come down, chance to meet me in person and obviously the lovely Louise as well in person.
I'm always here.
You're always here. All right.
Happy Askiversary. I love it. Thank you, Jill.
Very good. Okay, shall we have a question?
Yes.
It is the 21st of June. It is Monday, 4 p.m. Time for our question and answer. And Louise, may we have our first question, please?
Yes. Jade is asking for advice on the best way to make a wishbone ring.
Okay, so the way I like to make things, wishbone ring, you really do have to sort of try and do a little bit of experimenting beforehand. But what I would be inclined to do is you have your strip of metal, you measure your finger, you add on perhaps 7 or 8 millimeters longer than what you need. So you've got your strip of metal. All right, it's a bit longer than what you need, so you add that and add that. So then what you've got to do then, I should get a better pen that's a lot darker, shouldn't I? So what I would do, I would be inclined to bend it on the end like that, okay? Like that there, and likewise on this side here, and bend it like that there, okay? So that's what you've got. You bend it around into your oval shape, yeah, and then these come over these this way, and that comes that way. Yep, so that comes around like that and that'll come over the top like that. Then all you've got to do then is work out the size of the finger, bend this around obviously, get the right size, and then where these then overlap, you simply cut through. So this would be one piece that comes this way, and this would be the other piece then that comes this way. Yep, does that make sense? And then the ring comes behind, like that, yep, and then the ring comes behind there, like that. So where these overlap, you simply just cut straight the way through there. That comes off, and then you simply solder that join. And that is the easiest way of doing it, because your join then is on the top. The hardest thing to do is to try and do it the other way around, and try and get a nice sharp bend here, but then you've got to bend it back around this way. By doing it this way, it's easier to bend these on either end, overlap, cut through, solder, Bob's your uncle, manage your aunt. Nice and easy.
Is the mill geared?
Yes.
Yes, thought it was, yeah.
It's only 4-to-1, not 5-to-1. And the handle is brilliant, the rolls are brilliant. You can have there's some closer pictures on the forum that I took this morning before we removed it. It's brilliant, there's nothing wrong with it. But up here, I've got an Agile mill. It's a DRM C130. I've got another mill in the other room, but I still use the one that we have downstairs. The finish on it is just as good as a brand new one. And you know, we use it every day, and it is a really, really good mill. I got no problems sort of giving it to anybody who wants to pay me for it, because I got nothing to hide. The rolls are still in brilliant condition. Could we just look after it? Jason oils the hell out of it, so it's all nicely lubricated. But yeah, it's fine. Nothing wrong with it at all. The only thing that's different about it is that with all the new mills, you have to turn it this way to tighten, but on that mill, you've got to turn it that way to tighten. That's the only thing. And that's just because it was before all the modern ones were done.
It was the first rolling mill.
It wasn't the first rolling mill. If it was the first rolling mill, perhaps I would have kept it if it was the first one. As you said, perhaps...
All right, the second.
Perhaps Matthew would want it back to go into the Durston Hall of Fame, perhaps, or something like that.
Durston Museum.
Durston Museum.
Antique rolling mills. I'm joking. I don't want to put anyone off, sorry. I'm in trouble now.
So if anybody wants a rolling mill, pop onto the forum and have a look and see what you think. Oh, I had a wishbone ring, but it had 4 points. Yeah, even more difficult to do. Yes, and that's like a double wishbone that would be. Okay, may we have another question, please, Louise?
Yes. Elizabeth is about to attempt my first hollow domed ring with a cab setting. Want to stamp the sides with a pattern, advice on how to measure and what order to solder, dome and stamp.
So always stamp a pattern while you can stamp it, so flat. You then can hammer it to your heart's content. There's no real need to make any allowance for length or anything like that because the stamping won't necessarily increase the length of the blank. So stamp it all before. How long has this been making rolling mills? Since the 1960s, when Matthew's father started the business. Who's still alive? In Arizona. That's where he is. Yeah, so stamp it while you can. So stamp it before you turn it around. So once you've cut out, once you've cut out that shape, yeah, can you see that? Then obviously then you want to stamp all the shoulders here. Then you want to stamp all the shoulder or down here, wherever you want to stamp it, before you actually bend it round into the shape it needs to be. So there you go. Do it while you can. And I think that's about it, isn't it? Is that the question? When's best to stamp it? Yeah, I think so. I think that was. Next question, please.
Fiona has sent some delicate pendant forms to be hallmarked with a laser.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was safer than striking, but will I be able to strengthen them after I receive them back?
Strengthen them? Or straighten them?
Strengthen them.
I don't understand why you'd want to strengthen them. You can't really do anything. The laser mark that gets put on is the last thing. So you've got to think about, if you're having something stamped, it's a physical stamp, bang, stamps it. It marks the metal on the opposite side. So it stamps on the top, it marks the underneath. That's in contact with like a steel block and so forth. So then you have to perhaps just polish the back just to remove that stamp. So you have to send the piece in to be stamped before you put your final finish onto it. But when it comes to a laser, it is the last thing that needs to be done. So I would set the stones in it. I would basically have it perfectly finished. So at that stage, before it goes into the cabinet or before it goes to the customer, then get your laser mark put onto it. We've been discussing this, haven't we, Louise? Because we've had some laser marks put on. Was it a minute? Was it a minute?
The charge, the Birmingham assay office, I think it was £1 a minute burn time, and then it goes up. 2
minutes is £2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how they work it out.
And how deep was the 1 minute? Was it all right?
I think we've had 1 minute on ours, which, I mean, they're small, aren't they?
Yes.
They look substantial under a 10 times loop, but your customer's not going to have that. Well, they may not have that.
Yeah. So don't forget, you cannot, if you only go for a laser mark that's been on there for about a minute, you cannot come along and polish it, because you're effectively polishing the mat where it's been lasered and sort of almost like etched. So you don't want to go polishing, do you?
And that did happen to a client of ours, didn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, she wasn't very happy, and we got to pay to have it relasered now, but she wanted it polished, so... Yeah.
That's the thing, you've got to explain. And this is the problem again about taking repairs in. Check the inside of the ring shanks. If there is a laser hallmark, if you polish it, it's going to be polished out. So please explain that to your customers before they have the repair
They were delicate stones.
That's fine. Your laser mark should be the last thing that goes on, and you shouldn't need to strengthen it, because it's only just minute into the surface. It doesn't weaken the piece at all. So you should not need to do anything else to it. Yeah? Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Going back to Elizabeth's question, I don't think we fully answered it.
Sorry.
Do you solder before you form, and how to measure length?
Do you solder before you form? Do you solder? Not quite sure. It's on the website. We got obviously on At the Bench about it. It is really difficult to try and explain. You really do need to see it.
This is the hollow domed ring with the cab setting, yeah?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Because there is I don't have my book around here. So Alan Revere has a book called Professional Goldsmithing. Go and check it out. And there's templates, or search hollow form on Google, okay? Because it is basically this shape that you need, okay? But obviously the length of this shape is dependent upon the size finger that you need. I cannot tell you, not the fact that I'm not allowed to, because I have no idea. So what? What? Does that make sense like that? Yeah. So basically what you do, it's usually this distance from here, okay, all the way around to here. That is the finger size, okay, as you can see from the drawing here. So that is the finger size. So this seam here gets soldered against this seam. So this distance from there, from point A to B, is half the circumference of the ring size. So that is important. Yeah?
Is it?
Yeah. Yeah. This size here is usually half the circumference of the stone that fits in the top. Yeah? And this, from there to there, is the height of the ring, the height of the stone off the ring. Okay, that is basically it. But there's a template on Google. If you Google it, this template is on there, and it has all these dimensions on there. So it looks rather strange, but when you bend it around, because then these have to be bent into that shape like that. And then that comes round. Yeah, does that make sense? Yeah. And that gets soldered together. Then obviously then you put a liner on the inside as well to fill it in, and the stone goes in the top. It is difficult. I'd love to see what you do. Alan Revere, Professional Goldsmithing, brilliant book. Go and grab it while you can. But that is how you would work out the size. What was the question? Solder it before you bend it.
Advice on how to measure and what order to solder dome and stamp.
Yeah, so you stamp it when it's in that shape, you bend it around, you solder, I shouldn't have done that now. You solder the seam, you solder that to that, you solder that to that, then you can force it then down the mandrel, but it's got to be in that position, yeah. I can't really explain it anything better than that, sorry. Maybe have another question, please.
Okay. Okay, we did the hallmarking question. Johan has just finished making my very first wax mould. Would Delft clay work for casting a 140mm long but only 3mm thick piece?
Yes. Usually Delft clay it's like cuttlefish. 2mm is about the thinnest you can really go with cuttlefish, but Delft clay you should be okay. Grab me one of those. No, it's okay. Let's have a look. What have we got down here? Hang on a mojo. That one there.
Oh, I could have grabbed that.
Yeah. Thank you. How long? 140mm. That's pretty
140 mil long, but 3 mil thick.
So yes, you can. What I would advise you though is to try and get it. So here we go. This is a mold. Durst doesn't have these in production at the moment. I have you know, they are longer and a little bit more rectangular. So what you want to do is to make sure that you have a mold with a hole that goes in through the top and that would fill the mold, okay? That's a large round ones, but even these can't fit in 140. So what I'd advise you to do, what you don't want to do is to have the mold, okay? Here's your mold frame, looking from the outside. Here is the sprue or whatever it is, and you pour the silver in here and it has to fill up this void. You don't want the metal doing that, okay? Turning 90 degrees, because as soon as the metal hits here, it goes, oh, I don't want to go any further. Oh, I've got to go. And by the time it's thawed, it started to solidify. What? So what you want to do is to have the mold that way up, okay? And that's the advantage of these molds, because we've got this hole in the top. Obviously, this is going to be twice the length. So you can see we have mold, the hole at the top. So here's your sprue, here's your pouring channel, and then you've got your length coming down there. Think about gravity. Okay, your silver goes in here. What does gravity do? It makes everything go straight down. Yep. So the silver would be more inclined to fill this mold because it's completely uninterrupted. It'll go straight the way down. Gravity will take it down. You've got to have more silver than what you actually really need, because what you want to do then is to have like a little bit of a lump on the top of there once your mold is filled up, and the mold will fill. You do it this way. There's a very way, our lights are going. Way! Thank you, Silver Soul Jewelry. You can't quite see these lights because we've turned the camera today. Let's have a look. Hey! Flashing light. I've got my red light. Thank you so much indeed. Do appreciate it. Okay, so if you put the silver in this way, what does gravity want to do? It wants to pull the silver down, but it can't. So you're only relying upon the silver being molten to fill and to go in that direction. So if you're doing your delved clay, always make sure the silver is pouring into the cavity, not down the sprue and then the sprue into the cavity, because it will not necessarily work. Do appreciate it. Thank you very much, Silver Soul Jewelry. Thank you very much indeed. And also don't forget the silver has to be at a superheat. So when you heat up the silver starts to melt. You need to heat it even higher, a higher temperature than that, because as soon as you take your flame off that melting, the silver starts to cool. So you have to increase the heat of that silver. So when you take the torch and the flame comes off it, and when you pour it, it still remains molten. Don't worry, do that, comes all the way down. Remains molten all the way through it. Okay, so once you've got the silver, think it's molten, swish it around your crucible, make sure there's no little bits in it, keep heating it for another 30 seconds to increase the heat, and you should have a perfect cast. That's going to be one hell of a long ingot, or whatever it is you're making. Okay, everyone, thank you very much for that. Next question, please. Looking at me rather strange and weird.
I was looking at you strange.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, sorry.
It's okay.
Okay.
Sorry, next question, please.
Kristen is asking, what is the best way to coat a copper cuff bracelet so it doesn't turn skin green?
Oh, you can, whatever you put on it is going to come off. Can you put that mic over there, please?
Yes, I can.
Thank you. Whatever you put on the copper, it will come off. Renaissance wax is a good wax to put on it, and that really covers the copper, but it will slowly wear off. You can get some clear lacquer and put some lacquer over it, but again, it will wear off where it's in contact with the skin. So it's something that you're going to have to keep reapplying. If you're making it for a customer, they're going to have to look after it, and it may turn the skin green, but there's not much you can really do about that. We've got some comments coming on here. Clear nail varnish, yeah, it's like just like a clear lacquer. That'd be much neater. Enamel the bracelet, you could do, but the problem is, as it's going to be bending, it's going to be a bracelet, there's a chance that the enamel is going to snap and crack. So really, I don't think there's much that you can personally do. We have another question, please, Louise.
Okay.
Yeah.
Debbie is asking, what's the best way to add texture to metal if you don't have a rolling mill?
I'm sure we've done a film on this, adding textures. Anything at all. Anything. Whatever you want to do. Pop into your local hardware shop, buy yourself a hammer. It doesn't matter what hammer it is. It can be the cheapest hammer you can possibly get. Get it for $1, get it for £1. Pound shop, you can pick up hammers for £1. And dollar shop, I'm sure, dimes, whatever. Just buy the cheapest hammer. And on the face of the hammer here, just put a texture, okay? The simplest texture is to go outside and start smashing some rocks or smashing the wall, smashing some bricks so you get it all completely ruined. Yeah, but it's not ruined because then when you come along to your silver, you start to hammer it, you impart the texture that's come off the face of the hammer onto the silver. That is the easiest way of doing it. If you've got a nail, if you've got, there's loads of things. Pendant motor, get a flex shaft, get a burr on the end of it and go all over the piece of metal in all different random directions. That will produce a texture. Grab yourself some of these texture wheels, like this here, and you can put a nice texture, like a sandblasted texture over the silver. Hammer, get a nail. Get a texture on a nail, get a bolt, get something and just bash the silver. There's loads of ways you can add texture. It's not going to be, I suppose, an even texture like a texture plate or anything like that from a rolling mill, but it can be a completely random pattern. So anything, run over it. Yeah, exactly. Where did I get my texture wheels? I got them from Better Metal Sales or from Cookson. Frosting wheels, I think someone calls them. They're called frosting wheels. There we go. Just smash it with a hammer on some bricks. Exactly. That's all you really do need to do. And then you get a nice texture. And the best thing is the hammers are really cheap. You can buy texture in hammers. You can even come along with a file or with a hacksaw and cut like a checkerboard across the front of the hammer and start hammering your piece of metal. It's entirely up to you, whatever you so desire. The sky is the limit. There is no limit to your imagination, I'm sure. May we have another question, please, Louise?
Okay. Ashley is asking for advice on oxidizing pieces. Do you have to do anything to maintain the finish? Would you oxidize before or after hallmarking?
Read it out again, I wasn't listening, sorry. I was looking at you then, sorry.
No one likes a suck up, Andrew. Any advice
Texturing.
on... No, oxidizing.
No, patina.
Concentrate, man.
Patina, oxidizing.
Do you have to do anything to maintain the finish?
Okay. Yeah.
Would you oxidize before or after hallmarking?
So I would use something like a Renaissance wax. The good thing about an oxidization is that it looks great when the tops of the piece, the shiny bits, the shiny edges, the bits that get worn are nice and shiny, and all the little valleys are all nicely textured. So I wouldn't really worry about trying to keep the patina or the oxidization across the whole piece because it's never going to happen. It's like antique brooches, they look patinaed or oxidized, but what happens if it's silver? It just oxidizes with the sulfur from the air and gets a nice look about it. So I wouldn't worry about trying to keep it because it will stay in the little nooks and crannies. Obviously you have, I don't know, a pattern like this. You oxidize it, also all this gets oxidized, but as the piece wears, all these little high spots will actually wear and you're going to be going back to the silver, but all the valleys then are all nicely oxidized. This gives a lovely look about it. You would do it after it has been hallmarked, because obviously when they hallmark it, they will test it, and if there's anything that's on the surface or within the surface that causes degradation or a lowering the quality of the silver, it's not going to be too good. So always oxidize after it has been hallmarked and stamped. And if you've got stones in it, really do take care to keep away from the stones, because the patina, platinol, liver sulfur, whatever you're using could discolor the stones, and that wouldn't be too good. Renaissance wax we just mentioned, that would be a good thing to protect the surface, but again, the high spots are always going to wear and you're always going to be going back through to the silver. Maybe have another question, please, Louise.
Yeah. Romy is asking, is 0.8mm sheet too thin for a 3mm stone?
Bezel setting? No, you should be okay. So 3mm, so 0.8. So 0.8, so that's your metal thickness, that's 0.8. You could cut a nice little bit of a seat into that if you had to. You could take that down to about 0.3, 0.4 of a millimetre, and you got half a millimetre left on there. If you're simply just setting a stone into like a bezel, and that's 0.8, perhaps just file a little bit of a an edge off like that with your stone in here. It's a high cab, and then just force it over. So 0.8 is a nice size. So yeah, I'd be happy with that. Whichever way you want to do it. Totally. Yes, Romy, no worries at all with that. 0.8. If you're going for perhaps a bigger stone, perhaps you could go for a little bit thicker, but 0.8 should be just right. Cool, cool, cool. Next question, please.
Okay, Mer has got a question about melting down silver grain. I've watched the video on rolling mills without crucible / ingot.
Yeah.
And the video for fire stain, and wondered if a small amount of argon would help.
Whilst melting it? I don't think it would matter too much. I've never really had any problem. If you want to do it, I suppose you can do it. I know that when the casting companies cast silver, sometimes you do get a little bit of fire scale on some of the castings. But if they actually, as you say, protect the surface with a gas that stops the oxygen getting into the silver, it's nice and clean and you don't necessarily have any fire scale. Argon is good for that. To be honest, I wouldn't worry about it. You can just melt it in your charcoal block, and that gives a nice little atmosphere because of the carbon, and you should be fine with that. You should have no problems at all. I wouldn't worry about it. It's just more hassle to add argon, and also it's going to cost you a bit of money as well. Next question, please, Louise.
Okay, sorry, my chat just jumped. Okay.
Give this film a thumbs up if you like it. So I just everywhere, and it's in the bottom now. Give this film a thumbs up if you like it. Easy. Next question, Louise.
Kristen is asking, how can I prevent the 925 stamp from making an impression through to the other side?
It depends on what you got. It will always, because you're hammering against a steel block, for argument's sake, it will always make a slight mark on the other side. If you are doing rings, for instance, you can buy a little brass block that has various different thicknesses of curvatures in it, yeah? And you can put the ring in that to match the curvature of the ring, so you can stamp it, and that's going to help protect the other side. But obviously, if you've got a steel block, your piece of metal, and you're stamping on here, it's likely to mark the other side. Could put perhaps a little cloth. You don't want anything too thick because it needs the rigidity of the steel block to imprint. But if you perhaps put a nice cloth, nice soft, smooth piece of cloth, use that between the little block and the metal. Don't forget, it may impart the texture of the cloth onto the silver, so it has to be really, really smooth. Perhaps a very, very thin piece of leather, but not so much that the leather actually compresses when you stamp. Next question.
Okay.
Flying through them today.
Lee is saying, my dad has given me a 4mm thick, 230mm diameter circular copper plate. 4mm thick,
Yeah.
230mm diameter,
Yeah.
circular
Yeah.
copper plate.
Yeah.
Okay. Any advice what to make from it? Possible to raise it or too thick?
No. 4 mil thick.
4 mil thick.
Wow, that's huge, isn't it? That's thick. It's going to be too thick for you to raise. I think you could raise it if you've got some metal stakes. I'm sure you could raise it into something absolutely fantastic if it's 4 mil thick. I really don't know what you could do with it, to be honest. That is really thick. Cut it up into strips, roll it out, make something from the strips. But as it is, that's a massive piece. I would perhaps try 4 minutes. Get like a stump, cut a little bit of a hollow in a stump and try and hammer it. You may be there a while, that's really thick, isn't it? 4 mil thick. That really is thick. I don't know what to suggest, to be honest. Any ideas, Louise? I'm looking at you here and you're going, oh, I don't know.
4 mil.
Yeah, that's pretty thick.
Would you put it through the mill then and then just try some fold forming?
You won't be able to put 230 mil wide.
You'd have to cut it, wouldn't you, first? Yeah, obviously I'm not going to put that through there, are we?
Yeah.
But yeah.
You can cut it up into strips, put it through the roller mill. If you want to, or just try and forge it. Copper bowl, yeah, exactly right. Make a nice hollow and start to hammer it in circles. The good thing is what you've got to do is remember, if you have a disc, find the center point and get your dividers and put loads and loads of concentric circles all the way around. So when you come to hammer it, you hammer all the way around in layers. Yep.
It was left over from a petrochemical plant.
Oh wow, nice.
Elizabeth's saying, could you slice it in half horizontally?
No, couldn't do that. That'd be a hell of a job. But if you do that and have concentric circles, you can be sure then that it will be dished and it'll be nice and even. The same number of sort of hammer blows per centimetre in concentric circles all the way around, and you should get a nice bowl out of it. But that would be the better way to do it, to be honest.
Okay, Mo would like a video on 4/8 star stone setting.
4/8?
4/8. 4 and 8. 4 or 8 star. 4/8. 4/8 star stone setting.
Do you mean as in like that?
4 or 8. Sorry,
like
yeah, 4 or 8, yeah.
At the bench, if you remember at the bench, we've done some star setting on at the bench. Yeah. Should I do another one for YouTube? It's on at the bench already, and that's the idea. So join at the bench, atthebench.com/subscribe. Join for a month, and you can see all these videos. That's all I can really say. I don't think I'll be doing one for YouTube, to be honest, because we've got these on at the bench, and it wouldn't be fair to put free content of exactly the same as what we've got on our paid channel. So I'm happy to sell you a membership to At the Bench for a month, and it tells you how to do that. Is that all right? Yeah.
Okay, I was just looking for the link, but it's not here.
Well, atthebench.com/subscribe.
Yes, I can't remember that, can I? Okay.
Never another question.
Yes. Right, Sandra has bought a big size of fire scarf based on reviews. I heated my silver first, but the fire scarf just beaded like water and didn't turn white and left fire scale. What did I do wrong?
The fire scarf is beaded because the surface that you've got really wasn't clean. So if you think about when you wax and polish your car, can I remember the day when I did that last? No, I can't. When it rains, you get all the little beads. And Jason loves that. Jason loves taking photographs of cars with little beads of things. He's a sad boy. So, so that is the reason why when you sprayed your fire scarf on the surface, it went into beads, because the surface wasn't clean. I would suggest you clean the surface either by heating it up, putting it in your acid, in your safety pickle, cleans the grease and everything off the surface, or you just gently sand it with some very, very fine emery paper to remove fingerprints and bits of grease and stickiness on the surface. Then when you spray your fire scoff over the surface, it will form a nice even layer across the whole surface. Then when you warm up the piece, it should then all evaporate nice and evenly. If it doesn't and it evaporates and there's some white patches where it's evaporated, but there's some patches that aren't white, spray it in those areas again. So you've got to make sure that it's completely covered. The problem that you're having is that it was greasy, it was oily, you put your fire scoff, it went into little beads, you heated it up, those beads dried, and then you got those little white dots. So it wasn't clean. Make sure it's clean beforehand by those methods I just explained, and you should be fine. Don't forget, you most probably will have to reapply the fire scoff perhaps twice. You spray it onto the area, warm it up, it evaporates. The same with borax. You paint some borax onto the surface and the borax will always move around and it'll leave a couple of little patches that aren't white where the fire scoff or where the borax is not. Put some more borax, put some more fire scoff on those areas, heat it back up until the surface is nice and evenly coated white, and that should be fine. I wouldn't say you've done anything wrong, it's just literally just the preparation. Borax is a pain. Oh, borax is not a pain. I quite disagree with you, Ben. Borax is the best. Next question, please. Next question, please.
Okay, Bonnie is asking, can you advise how much you can enlarge a ring without soldering?
Depending upon the thickness of it. If it's a plain wedding band, say you've got a nice plain wedding band, 22 carat, using an upright ring stretcher, you can stretch it all the way from perhaps from a size A all the way to a size Z. You may have to anneal it in between, but the ring will stretch and metal will keep on stretching and stretching and stretching. If you've got a gem ring, a ring with stones in, the back of the shank, you may be able to stretch it, if you're in the UK, perhaps 1 or 2 sizes perhaps, without it going too thin. If you're in the US, perhaps that would be 1 size. But anything more than that and the metal is going to start to get just that little bit too thin. So it's a very hard question to answer because I need to see the ring that you've got and how many sizes it has to go bigger. But you can gently tap it about a size and I think you should be absolutely fine. I'm not using a ring stretcher and for a wedding band. Okay, plain wedding band, you can do it because then you can stretch the ring all the way around. Excuse me, you can hammer it round, you can hammer it with a leather hammer, rubber mallet, something like that, and you should be able to stretch it all the way around. If you're in the UK, you can do it about 3 sizes, I'd say. If you're in the US, perhaps 1.5, 2 sizes maximum on it. Next question, please, Louise.
Okay, Shirley made the hollow form ring out of copper first and then did it in silver and it turned out great. Posted a pic in the gallery at the bench. Oh, fab. Oh, we'll have a look.
But that is the best way to do it. Obviously, if you make it out of copper, do a little template of the piece because once you solder it all together and it worked out great, you have to then unsolder to take it all apart to make it flat, to make it as a template for the silver. So when you make it out of copper, always draw around it so you've got a copy of what you've just done. Then do it in copper. If it works out right, great, you've got your paper copy to cut out and make your silver one. And if it isn't right, you can always make some adjustments. But yeah, well done. Nice one, have to go and watch that. Next question.
Fiona is looking for rectangular disc cutter. Rectangular disc cutter. Are there any in your sale of goodies?
No, rectangular.
Okay. Sorry, Fiona.
Rectangular. There is a company that is in, I think it's in either China or India that do make custom disc cutters. They all do things like hearts, stars, moon shapes. Some people have had success. Some people don't like it, and it starts with an M. M-I-C-K-O, Miko, something like that, if I can remember. But they will make you disc cutters of whatever you want. They also have some unusual shapes as well. Check them out. I can't remember for the life of me exactly what it is. But you pay your money, you take your choice. Some like it, some don't. Some work. Some have complained the punches are no good, but others have said they're great. So I can't really say yes or no. They're definitely good or bad, but go and check them out. Next question, please, Louise.
Okay, Dylan is asking, when making a 4-claw basket setting, do I need to notch out just the jump ring, just the pillars, or both?
Easiest thing is just to notch out the uprights, because then the jump ring will click nicely into place. If you want to make it, you could halfway into the uprights, and then you can also do halfway into the jump ring if you wanted to, but really there is no real need to do that. Easy. Can you sharpen punches? Yes you can, Sandy. I think I put a video on YouTube a little while back showing how to keep the punch faces nice and clean and to sharpen them. Next question, please.
Next question, okay. Janet has just ordered a Delft set and Sievert burner, etc. So, hungry for any mould advice, etc.
On Delft clay? Check out the YouTube films, really. It's really hard to say without knowing exactly what you want, but there's quite a few films on YouTube showing how to Delft clay. There's one I did several years ago, making matching balls. It was a bit tongue-in-cheek. I simply had a little camera in front of me and I was a bit silly with it. I had some criticism, but other people loved it. It was just a bit of fun. It was a bit of fun.
What did you do now?
I haven't done anything, or nothing wrong, no. It was like I had my little vlogging camera, and I had it, and I didn't have these cameras around me, and it was just a simple matter. I had to cast a ball, wanted to do it quickly. I thought, great little idea for a film, and I just couldn't be bothered moving the camera, so I was sort of like talking down here to the camera and that sort of thing. It's brilliant. I've earned a bit of money off that film, but it is. It was, and then all you need to know about Delft clay casting as well. I think there's a video on YouTube that says all about that as well. Miko, Fiona says, I think it is Miko, yes. No worries. Another question, please, my dear.
Okay, Paul is asking, is it a tip on making a Martini setting for soldering the support ring for the stone?
Can you check out what a Martini ring? Please, Louise. I don't
Sounds
know.
like something I would like.
Oh, we're having champers tonight. It's our anniversary, isn't it?
It is.
Should we get some champers tonight?
We should, shouldn't we?
We should, shouldn't we? Yeah. Martini settings. Just a simple little 4-claw like that. Okay. So it's
hang on, there's
it's
three.
like a, it's like
three
a,
on that one.
It's like a Tiffany, but a lot lower there, isn't it? It's like a
Oh, so it's like a Martini glass.
Ah, yes.
So it's not the number of claws as such, it's the...
Yes.
The deep. You know, the camera's not on me, so I can't show you. Oh, there we are, yeah.
Yes. And there's your drink.
And there's the olive.
There's the olive.
Lovely.
And there's your umbrella.
Yeah. Nice.
Nice. What do you want?
Don't forget to ice the glass.
What was the question?
I don't know. Is there a tip on making a Martini setting for soldering the support ring for the stone?
There isn't a support ring, is there, on Martinis?
For soldering the support ring for the stone?
I don't think there was a support ring, was there?
3-claw earring. 3-prong. Ah, right, okay.
I don't think there was. I think that because...
Look, there's a bezel set one there.
There's a bezel set, yeah.
But it's just literally...
Yeah, just solds on the top. I don't think, looking at what Louise has put up on the screen here, the small ones, there is one there. Is that classed as a Martini though? I don't know.
What makes it a Martini setting? Is it the number of tips, or is it the
shallow shape?
The Martini glass shape?
Because you can't really have them that like that, because that really isn't a Martini. It's got to be...
Well, that's more of a flute, isn't it?
Yeah. That's for the champers tonight.
Yeah.
I would have thought it's like this, and usually then the stone will sit in quite low, so I don't think you're going to have an awful lot of room to put in like a little jump ring for the stone to sit on. What was the question?
No prongs and shape. No prongs.
No prongs? 3-prong.
3-prong earring, no prongs and shape. Huh?
Don't know, not quite sure. Not quite sure. 3-claw earring, yeah? But they're very shallow. No prongs and shape. Don't know, Paul, that much what you're on about.
There's a tip of making a Martini setting for soldering the support ring for the stone?
I don't think there shouldn't really be any need, I don't think, providing your claws are going to be thick enough.
Number. No prongs. No prongs and shape number.
I don't know. I don't know what that means. Sorry, I don't know.
Number of prongs, 3 prong. Okay.
Yes. So it's like a 3-prong.
Yeah, like that.
Yeah.
And
usually no, but usually the bearing is just cut into them there. So
soldering the support ring for the stone.
There usually isn't one, isn't there? On something like that.
So it would just be literally the tips,
claws, yeah,
holding it in place.
So you obviously got to make sure that these claws then are going to be thick enough. If you do want to solder a ring, exactly what we said about 2 questions ago, I would perhaps make a little groove in them like that, and then that'll be the place then that the jump ring would sit into if you wanted to do it that way. And then the stone then would sit within side that.
I do like that setting. It's really pretty, isn't
Nice, isn't it?
I hope that's okay, Paul. If not, pop us a ticket via at the bench, or you can email me at louise@andrewberry.co.uk.
We will check it out.
If you want some more,
Absolutely, totally. Okay. Next question, please.
Okay. Can you clear / transparent enamel onto copper? Oh, that was to do with the
so it doesn't.
Copper.
Yeah. I have a feeling if it is going to be a bracelet, the enamel will crack.
Okay. Postmoderna member. I have a problem with soldering silver with a borax cone. I have done everything what I should do, clean the metal, use the borax, lots of heat, etc. It simply will not flow.
The solder won't flow? It sounds like that the solder is hot enough, but the metal isn't hot enough. So it doesn't matter if the solder has rolled up into a ball. The metal has to be the same temperature as the solder before the solder will flow. Okay, so you've got your join in a ring like this. You put your little Palinon solder on the top. It's clean, it's flux, the tightest joint you could possibly get. That's on top here. You put your flame here. Okay, there's your flame on the solder. The solder rolls into a ball. There's your solder. Okay, and you're thinking, why isn't the solder melting? Sorry, flowing down the joint. The solder is melted, the solder's not flowing. This is the #1 problem that you're getting. Now, I always seem to end up the question and answer with this particular question, and it gets me rather frothy. So I will say...
Oh, I love a bit of froth on a Monday afternoon.
So froth alert coming up. Right. And I'm going to have to write a book about soldering, because soldering is so important. What you've got to remember, okay, it is not the torch that melts the solder. Everybody in the chat should know this. It is not the torch that melts the solder. If the solder melts at 680 degrees, okay, the rest of the metal has to be the same temperature. If the metal here is not, say, I just plucked that figure out of my head, if this metal here is not 680 degrees, but the ball is, the solder is...
You're shouting.
Sorry, the solder won't flow. The solder... Shut up, yo, the camera on you. The solder will only flow when it is the right temperature. So you don't want to put your flame on the solder. It's the wrong way of doing it. Don't listen to the books that tell you to do that. You put the flame on the metal. You put the flame on, and it is the temperature of the metal that melts the solder. All right, remember that. So you don't put the flame here, all right, on the solder, because the rest of the metal is not heating up. What you want to do right, there's your pallion of solder, okay, it's rectangular, is put the flame somewhere else, not on the solder.
Decibels are going up again.
So put the flame perhaps underneath. Put the flame to the side. Don't put the flame really, if you can help it, on the solder, because the solder will melt, because it's tiny, it is small. It will heat up far quicker than this. So even if you do this way, there's a chance that this heat will melt that little bit of solder, and the solder will go into a ball before the rest of the metal has had chance to heat up. So my tip is try and keep the flame off the solder. All right, that's your number one tip. Then you heat up the metal. Then as the metal heats up and the metal gets to the right temperature for the solder to melt, the solder will form into a ball and it will flow down into the joint. Why? Because the metal is the same temperature as the solder. And that's all I really have got to say.
Bonnie said, I just learned this on the weekend. If soldering a ring, start at the back, in the middle, and then the side, then we're down. It made such a huge difference.
It does, it really does.
So it does work. As if there was any doubt.
Excuse me? So it does work. It's not Andrew saying so, we've actually got some practical. Another thing that you can do, thanks Louise for that. Another thing that you could do is have your soldering block, okay, like that, okay? And a lot of people will put the solder on top of the piece. If you're soldering a ring, okay, and here's the ring on your soldering block, all right, there's the join there, okay? A lot of people will put the solder on the top here. Try something different. Put the solder underneath, okay? So put the solder on the block, put the ring on top with the joint on top of the silver. Now, your flame cannot get onto that piece of solder. So if you put your flame here, the solder won't melt quickly because it's trapped between the soldering block and the metal, okay? So there's this, super nice bit of shading. So where do you put the flame? You put the flame up here then, don't you? You put the flame, as Bonnie says, you put the flame on the back, heat it up, back and forth, 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 and then you end up by here. And here's your flame now, right by here. Okay, here's your flame by here, heating up this area. And the best thing about this is, the solder cannot melt before the metal has reached the temperature. Then as soon as the metal here reaches the temperature that the solder melts at, because the solder is in contact with the metal, the solder will just melt and flow up the joint. Few people on the internet say solder flows downwards. It doesn't.
Shouldn't believe everything you see on the internet.
Exactly. Years of experience, solder, yes, things do flow downwards due to gravity, but solder will flow upwards due to capillary action. As you know what happens when you have two plates of glass together. You put a bit of water in the bottom, the water goes up.
What's your hug analogy?
I'm not going to go into that.
Okay,
I haven't got to that stage yet.
Yeah.
Ooh, it loves it. Yeah. But also the solder, and here it comes now, the solder loves heat. Okay? Solder's down here, it's cold, it's going, nah, I can't be bothered going anywhere. Yeah. Right, nah, it's not hot up there, I'm going to stay down here underneath like this. And then suddenly, this bit of metal gets nice and warm, yeah? The solder's going, whoa, it feels a bit nice, that does. The solder's going, oh, it's not so bad, this. So when this metal here is the right temperature, the solder goes, oh my gosh, it's absolutely gorgeous. I'm going to go for it. And the solder will flow between those joints because it loves to be hugged. Put a bit of solder between two pieces of metal and the solder will flow, it loves it, and the molecules will open up and the solder will flow in between and you get a perfect joint.
Does placing the solder underneath work in every situation?
Say that again?
4K Cone Love is asking, does placing the solder underneath work in every situation?
Yeah. But the advantage of doing that is to keep the flame off the solder. Number one problem, you get the flame on the top, solder melts, you go, damn me, it's not melting because the metal isn't hot enough, and it is the metal that melts the solder. As you heat the metal, the molecules will expand. As you know what happens if you heat a piece of metal, the metal gets bigger because the molecules expand. And as the molecules expand, there'll be some gaps in between the molecules. Then, when that is the right temperature, the solder will go, oh, I love you, I want to come between you. And the solder will flow down in between the molecules because the metal is the right temperature. If the metal isn't the right temperature and you try and push the solder all over it, you're going to get a dry joint. And you're going to get cracks if you start to tap it. But the metal has to be the right temperature, the molecules open, the solder comes in, it spreads itself in between the joint, and you get a gorgeous joint.
Oh, I don't know what to say, I'm speechless.
Dear me, dear me.
Kate says, I've seen them use it, just wondered why. Is there any advantage?
On
or
which
just
way?
how they were taught? I'm guessing the way... The other way.
Solder on top. Yeah, because sometimes it is a lot easier to put the solder on top, and I quite agree with that. And it is, you can do it, but what you've got to think about is don't put your torch on the solder. Put the flame away underneath the piece, on the side of the piece, but don't put the flame anywhere near the solder because the solder will melt. Guaranteed. And if it melts, it gets too hot, it'll burn out some of the properties of its flow and flowiness, whatever you want to call it. It'll burn out some of the alloys in it and it won't flow. So don't overheat the solder, which is what will happen if you put the flame on the top. I have a lie down now, Louise.
I think you need one, yeah. Okay. Susan was taught that way, and I use both techniques, pallies for silver, balls for gold.
Yep.
Wound in North
Yeah,
Scorpio.
Kate, you can pre-ball the solder. Don't overheat the solder. That's all I can say.
Steptoe and son. Yeah, do you know what, Janet? I think you put me in mind of the
Ouch! Ouch!
Yeah. Okay. What else have we got? Yeah. Okay.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
I
obviously.
think we're all lost for words, Andrew.
Obviously, there are going to be times when you can't put the bit of solder underneath. I quite agree. It happens. You can do it in every situation. Obviously, if the design allows for it. There are some times when it literally cannot go underneath, and then you put it on top. But don't put the flame on the solder.
Kate had asked about President balling. Did I miss one? Sorry, Kate. I missed your question about
Pre-balling solder. Kate,
Oh,
on about
pre-balling.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's easier to put the solder on your block, and then perhaps you may have a solder pick. You put the flame directly onto the solder, so the solder melts for a second. You pick it up with the solder pick, so the ball's on the end of your solder pick. Then you can place it upon the joint. That's fine. Provided the solder isn't heated up too long, okay? Because otherwise the properties will be burnt away, literally burnt away. That's fine. Then you can place that then upon to the piece that you're soldering. That's fine. But don't put the flame on your little balled up piece of solder. Put it on the rest of the piece, and then when it's all the right temperature, that solder will flow. Yes. Can you make an oval collet set without a collet punch? Yes, you can. All you got to do is make it round, the right shape. Then you can use a pair of parallel pliers to squeeze it. Perhaps you may want to hammer it. You may want to put a pair of round nose pliers on the inside of it and physically pull it open. There are lots of ways that you can do it, but yes, you can. Maybe have another question.
You'd like another question?
Yeah, last question, I think.
Okay.
Now calm down now.
We did the borax question, didn't we?
Yeah.
Oh, it's just skipped again. I don't know what's happening here.
Can you use lost wax casting with a cuttlefish? No, you can't. Although you can use wax to make an impression in the cuttlefish. You can't. The idea with lost wax is that you put the investment in the kiln for then the heat to melt the wax so the wax burns out. You can't do that with cuttlefish because the cuttlefish bone will burn. So the idea, you have the wax, you have a wax mold, you push it into the cuttlefish, you remove the wax mold, you put the cuttlefish back together and you cast in the void.
Okay, I've got a question.
Yes.
Mickey's question. Can you show me how to refill a handheld torch, please? Because I always have a problem with refilling them.
Okay, pass me over the
I noticed that
gas.
you did one the other day, didn't you?
I did the Durston one. No, best not
All
throw compressed gas, Louise. It's a little dangerously, don't you? So, what I'd advise you to do, when you buy these new, there is no gas in them. What I would suggest you do is to get perhaps a little scribe, and in the bottom you have the little valve. When you have it new, push the valve in, okay? Because when it comes from the manufacturers, it's not allowed to be shipped with gas in it. You then need to buy your butane separately. So always make sure you push in the valve to release any air that may be trapped inside the handle. There usually isn't any, but it's always a nice little safety tip. Then you simply get the canister, you turn it upside down, you get your torch. This one has a base, so you can keep the base on. There's a space in the bottom, or you can take the base off. And always try and do it vertically, because what you want to do is to get the gas. If you try and do it this way, there's a chance that there's no liquid. Sometimes perhaps it comes down here and it's so low that it's just the air that's going into it. You don't want air, you need it. So I would always turn it completely vertical, put the nozzle, here we go. So there's the valve, here's the nozzle, put it in place, and literally, can I get that a bit wider? There we go. And then just simply push that down. Okay, so that's going in. And then you should see a little bit of gas coming out. As soon as you see the gas coming out, it shows that it is full. Obviously, this is quite a full one. Let's just quickly try this one here now as well. This is the smaller one. And what you'll feel is the handle getting colder because the gas is going into, there we go, just saw some of the excess come out then. The handle gets quite cold. We filled up one of the Durston. Durston's got a lovely, same style as this one, like the big bad boy. Really good, go and check them out. Really cheap on Durston's website at the moment, only about £39 I think, which is the same sort of price as the little ones, 39 instead of like 69, but go and check them out. Durston.com/ATB. Anyway, enough of that. Just the handle will get cold. Then once it's full, you get that little bit of gas coming out. Always best to do it at arm's length. Turn it up, sit it down, and let the gas settle for about 10 or 15 minutes. Once the gas is settled, then you can start to use it. What may happen if you don't allow the gas to settle, it may be slightly bubbling up inside the handle. So when you turn the gas on and then set it off, it may come out in spurts, but I would always let the handle, the torch, sit and just rest for 10 minutes. And the gas canisters will last you a long time. In the lid of this, there's all these little attachments. You shouldn't need to use any of those attachments. Whatever comes on the canister should go straight into, you're laughing at me.
No, I'm just laughing at something else.
Is that Jazz doing our tea?
Well, Jazz was supposed to be doing our tea.
But she's not now.
She's locked out. She said, how long are you going to be? I'm locked out. I said, so is dinner ready? And she said, no, I'm locked out. I thought she started the dinner and somehow got locked out, but she's just locked out.
So we're not having tea ready for when we get home?
No.
Okay.
So we might as well have another question.
So that's how you do it. Let it settle, then you can start. And you should be able to realise the pressure that is within the handle by the size of the flame. If you're working away and the flame gets slightly smaller, it's time to refill the handle. Do exactly the same thing as that. Thanks, Louise.
She just said, I heard that. I do watch, you know. How are you locked out, you silly cow? What have you done?
Why is she locked out, honestly? What's she like?
What have you done? Right, where's your key, you silly girl? Right, anyway, one last question. Dominic is asking, are microwave wax burnout foundries any good?
I've seen these and I've seen them on YouTube, but I've never tried them. There's a man and his son, I think, who make them, and you can melt metal within a container in the microwave. Personally speaking, I think that really is a bit risky, especially if you want to do your pizza or warm up your risotto, whatever it is, afterwards. Myself, I wouldn't want to risk it.
There's pizza in a microwave.
Jason,
oh, yeah.
remember? Jason did that pizza in the and he threw it away because it was disgusting. Yeah, that's Jason for you. So I haven't tried it. I personally would like to try it, but I would do it in a microwave that is solely kept for that purpose and not one that I want to re-warm up my Chinese or Indian the next day, to be honest. Oh, there we go, glass fusing. Lee says, I've used one for glass fusing and it works well. Brilliant, thank you. And he's going, fancy one. Thanks for all the advice. You're more than welcome, Kenneth. Good that you joined us again today. I've gotten so much to my these torches, I know downstairs we've got the Smith's little torch and they're absolutely fantastic, but they need oxygen as well as propane. These little torches on At The Bench, our online jewellery training website, look down the bottom here, At The Bench, we just use these torches. And it is so amazing what you can get done just with these couple of torches. Admittedly, if you want to do a lot of casting, well, then you may have to invest in perhaps a sievert torch or a hokey torch. Keep wanting to call them hokey pokies.
Hokey cokey. Hokey pokey.
Yeah, so it's amazing what you can get done with these little handheld torches. Yes?
I have to go and rescue my daughter.
You have to go now.
my adult daughter.
Ask if you can go across and get us some champers from Tesco.
Yeah, Jazz, are you still watching?
Jazz, run across to Tesco for us. Can you get us a bottle of, what should we have?
I don't know, we'll go now.
Perhaps she doesn't have enough money in the bank. Bolly, Moe, whatever.
We'll get it now.
We'll get it now. We'll get it on the way. Anyway,
don't worry, Jazz.
No more questions now, I'm afraid. We've got to go and rescue Jasmine that's stuck outside the house because she's forgotten her key. What a job. Says no tea ready for us.
No.
Never mind. Never mind. Okay. Everyone, thank you so much for watching. We are going to be having quite some interesting films. We've got ourselves an Oxycon and we got ourselves another Smith's little torch. So we're going to be doing lots of films on At The Bench. We're using some different equipment and how to put the Oxycon together and use it with the Smith's little torch. So I'm really excited with that. Don't forget, if you're an At The Bench member, a paid At The Bench member, check out the marketplace in the forum, the last topic section category at the bottom. That is where we are going to be posting up some equipment that we are going to be putting for sale. My first rolling mill is on for sale.
You make it sound like a Fisher Price job.
£700, but I'm open for offers. You do have to come and collect that. We've got an upright wedding ring stretcher for sale, and again we've got a 4-bath plating system. There's going to be all the equipment that we're going to be selling is going to go on there first. If it doesn't sell from all there, we're going to put it up on eBay, so keep an eye out for that. Shelley, oh, good to see you, Shelley. Louise, you crack me up. Yes, she does crack me up as well. Is that it?
I think so.
I think that is all we need to say at the moment. Don't forget, 12th of July, we've got someone coming in.
Yes, I'm so excited. Yeah, save all your gemology questions. We're going to have the lovely and amazing Kerry from Gemology Rocks, which I'm super excited about.
And she's going to be answering your questions.
Yes.
As in your questions, Louise, because you've got loads of them. And obviously, if you...
I'm going to hog her, totally.
If you've got gemology questions, please save them up. 12th. Okie Dean, what's a pound in dollars?
Don't know. Dina, I've noticed you've emailed me and I'm going to take another look at this. No problem at all. We'll get it all straightened out, I promise, no problem.
What's £180 in dollars?
You've got to say, hey Siri.
No, 250.
Oh, you've done it, have you?
Yeah, $250. $250 is £180. What's £20 in United States dollars? Or $27 for a monthly membership. Easy as that. That's how we do it. Yes, came across a lab Alexandrite and I have a question about it. Great, Dylan, keep these questions.
Oh, you guys, actually, if you've got photos of stone, that would be really handy, actually. Email me your photos. She might not, well, she won't be able to diagnose from a photo.
But she'll have a pretty good go, I would have thought.
Yeah, no, but definitely, if you've got photos of stones that you want to send in, because it's difficult with the chat, send them to me, Louise at andrewberry.co.uk. If you've got anything, any pictures of stones that you want Kerry to look at.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So everyone, thank you for your kind messages. It's our 2nd anniversary of me asking Louise to marry her. She just thought I was joking, didn't you?
Yeah, easiest decision I've ever made, though.
Oh, you're so cute.
It was, no, it was.
You, bless you. We've had a ball. I'm gonna keep having balls. Don't forget, Louise, the bigger your balls, the flatter your bottom.
Don't get into that.
Everyone, thank you so much. Really do appreciate all the kind comments. Yeah, Kristen, keep on how an Oxycon works. It's very interesting. We've started it up and it is nice. And yes. Yeah, $1.23 per pound. You're more than welcome, Annie. Everyone, yes, stay safe. We're going to see you again on the 28th of June for our... Yes, Louise.
I'll be double jabbed by then.
Double jabbed?
Double jabbed.
25th.
You had yours
When's yours?
week,
25th?
Friday, this Friday.
Excellent, double jabbed.
So that, that'll be that then, won't it?
I had mine on Thursday.
Yep.
We went out for a nice meal.
With no fuss this time?
There was no fuss. Oh, my arm aches. My arm did ache.
Apart from that, yeah.
But I wasn't ill, I wasn't anything, but it really did work well. And you got yours on Friday. Early finish for you then.
Yay!
Yeah. Happy summer day.
Happy solstice. Solstice?
Solstice. No, solstice.
I can't say it.
Solstice.
Solstice. Yeah, happy solstice.
Yes. Well, when are you posting your equipment, Kristen? It's on the At the Bench forum. If you're a member of At the Bench, check out there. Everybody who is a paid member of At the Bench gets first dibs. Anything that is left will be going on eBay in a week's time.
Oh, I hope not.
What's that?
I think Jasmine has scarfed your showers. We gotta go.
We gotta go. All right.
Just quickly. Well, I think somebody asked. I think Paul asked about the saw off.
Yes.
Yeah. How's that going?
Haven't done them yet.
Right.
I'm be doing the saw off this week.
Okay.
There'll be films done this week.
Because you were going to get a few opinions, weren't you? And I don't know if you're still doing that. No.
I'm going to just have my opinion on the saws.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the blades, I'm going to get you. I'm going to get you, who's never sawn before, to have a go, and you're going to see what blade's the best. We've got blades from China.
For a complete beginner.
Yeah.
So from my perspective, starting from no experience.
Yeah.
I'm going to have a go.
Yes. So I think we'll get my opinion. We're going to get, from my experience, then we're going to get Lee's experience. We're going to get Lee on it. We're going to try and get him on camera. Jason, we're going to try and get Jason.
He's so shy though,
even though
isn't
it may be just his hands and not his face. Well, that's an advantage, isn't it, for everyone?
Don't be horrible.
And it'll be you as well. So we're going to have a bit of a blade off, I suppose you could call it. But the saws will be done this week.
Great.
Making Jazz. She's on. I'm making cocktails.
Jasmine's on. Woo!
Everyone say hello to Jasmine.
You're not making cocktails, darling. You're not even in the house. Are you in now?
She's just swigging it from the bottle, I think.
Jasmine, save some for us.
Absolutely. There we go. You bought a new sort. Shampoo is saved.
Okay, great.
Everyone, check out At the Bench, paid members at the bench, in the forum, at the bottom. That's the marketplace. That's where all the tools are going to be as we go through them. We've got a lot of sorting out to do. Everyone, thank you, Kristen. Thank you very much in there. That's it. Hi Jasmine, just broke a window. I'm the espresso martini. Oh, she will. I'm sure she will.
She will.
Okay, join us next week, 28th of June, for the next question and answer, 4 p.m. on here. And anything else you want to say, Louise?
No. I don't think so.
That's
Just
it.
see you next week.
See you next week. We're going to be posting some more films as soon as possible at the bench. Strawberry daiquiris all round.
Hey.
Really, Jasmine? Really?
Nice.
Really? Yes?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just wondering what she's got. What she bought in Tesco?
Well, it looks like
then?
we're having a liquid dinner, doesn't it?
A liquid dinner. Nothing wrong with liquid dinner, Louise. Right, everyone, take care. See you all next week for the next question and answer. Check out. Say goodbye, Louise.
Goodbye. Okay, let's go.
Jasmine, we're on our way home. Take care. Bye-bye for now. Bye-bye.
Fade to black.